This is Keyed In with Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. And now, here are your hosts, Max Rabin and Brent Jackson.
Welcome to the Keyed In podcast. I am your host, Brent Jackson.
And I'm Leslie Backoff.
We have a guest host filling in today. We have a Me Too moment, if that's okay to say online.
We're smashing the patriarchy. I'm taking over for Max.
Yes, Max is away this week. He has kid camp, not same as tennis camp I know he wants to go to. So he'll be back next week joining us. We're going to dive right in here. We've got a great guest, Anna-Louisa Yon.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
Great to have you. So Anna is a native Washingtonian. She began her career as a top producing sales rep for one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world. With a father in construction and a mother in real estate investing, Anna pursued her passion in real estate and entrepreneurship in 2015. So Anna, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. So happy to be here. An honor that you thought of me. And I've had some great people.
So just dive right in. Tell us about why real estate.
Why real estate? So I think when you graduated in the 08-09 era, a lot of us had to shift in our ideal of, we're getting out of college. This is what I want to do. This is the city I want to live in. Changed a lot for all of us. So I often think about it. I'm like, wow, if that didn't happen, where would I be? Would I be living my dream in New York? Like I always wanted to be, just a badass there doing whatever I wanted to do at the time. So
where'd you go to school?
Washington College. So a really small school on the Eastern Shore, private, 1,100 kids, smaller than my high school. Yeah. It was a great time though. I mean, you improvise when there's not much to do. So
how did you find your way there from Washington?
I actually have a big legacy there. My mom and her brothers moved here from South America to go to college there. And so right from South America to college in this little small town.
Yeah,
and then,
wow.
It's a long story. But so that's three of them. And then my grandfather was, on my dad's side, was a French professor. So my dad, his sisters went there. And then I have other extended family that went there. So I'm a product of
very cool.
WAC.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you ever think of going somewhere else, or was it always that you were going to go there?
I don't really know. I just feel like that time was just in my life was weird. I remember thinking, not weird, but it was confusing. There's a lot of changes. My mom and stepfather were moving to across the country and just a lot of things moving. And I think I wanted to hold on to a little piece of home. Mm-hmm. So, I actually remember having 11 to 15 different job or university applications out in the envelopes. You have everything in, you have all the stamps. And then I think I only submitted 2.
Oh, wow.
And they were Maryland schools and, always lead me back to the shore, I guess.
That's awesome.
So going through college, and then you came back to, what happened after college?
After college, again, the world imploded. My mom was in Denver at the time, so I actually went there. I tried doing the New York thing. I tried potentially maybe coming back to DC, but nobody was hiring. So I went there for a lot of reasons. And
to New York? Oh,
no, to Denver. So I was there for a minute.
But you went to New York?
No.
Oh,
that was my dream.
Okay.
I want
my dream. New York. I'm so excited.
I know. I in my mind, I lived there. I lived there for a summer, and that was the coolest experience of my life. But anyway, I'm really good at storytelling. Everyone says that. So
awesome.
Glad you're not.
I'm not. Not at all. So I went to Denver, and then I'm just an East Coast girl through and through. So I came back. I was in pharmaceuticals. It was great while it lasted.
Which company? It says the world's largest.
So
Pfizer?
No. So it's the largest. It's one of the largest generic making pharmaceutical companies, but they had a smaller branded team. But we were still all around the nation.
Which company was this?
Lupin Pharmaceuticals.
Lupin. I'm having a brain freeze right now, but I went to college at West Virginia University, and one of the largest generic pharmaceutical companies is in Morgantown, West Virginia.
Which one is that?
God, I can't remember.
It's like
It starts like with an M.
M.
It's like God. It's like right behind the football stadium.
So it's
God.
Mylan and Lupin are the two largest generic branded companies in the world. So when you're at a pharmacy, you look in the back and you see there's blue bottles and white bottles. The blue is Mylan and the white is Lupin. Always.
Interesting. Good to know.
For the
The more
generic
you know.
drugs, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious because I was in pharmaceuticals and I worked at Sanofi and I worked at GlaxoSmithKline and I was selling branded drugs. Like I had the easiest drugs known to man because I was selling sleeping pills.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like Ambien, and then I had I can't remember the other one that I had. Ambien was with Sanofi, and then Lunesta.
Mm-hmm.
So that was not with GSK. That was with another company. But the job, and I've told this to Daryl Judy, was on our episode last week. That for me it was easy because I did it in New York, also did it in Washington D.C. I was able to find that if you focus on like the top 20% of your doctors, they're writing your prescriptions, and it's easy to get someone that's writing 100 scripts a week to 150 versus someone that's not even on the face of the earth with your medicine.
Yeah.
But like it's easy for Lunesta or Ambien because like everybody has a sleep problem and it's branded, everybody knows it. But like, how are you selling non-branded or generic?
No, so it's it was the largest generic, but we had a branded sales team.
So you were selling like branded
the branded
drugs.
stuff. So I was selling antibiotics, some other pediatric drugs, some cardiovascular. So I was calling on peds, cardio, and internal medicine. And my territory was all Northern Virginia. So I would go from my house in Glover Park to Roslyn all the way out to Gainesville,
Oh, wow.
Warrenton. Yeah. Warrenton. I'll probably never go there again. I have doctors are predators. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They're like,
And I'm sure those trips are, well, I guess depending on your manager, but like I hated doing drive time with the manager. And I'd always pick like the most remote location so they would not come back to me. It's like, never take me back to like Gainesville or somewhere like that.
No.
Too far out there.
Yes.
To your point, so I listened to your podcast with Daryl Judy, and I resonated with what you said so much because that's exactly what I did. I saw who my top docs were, and then I would just go to them, and then I'd be home at 2, and I'm not wired that way. I need to be doing something all the time,
right.
And you just get bored of that, and it's just not as fulfilling. And then, I mean, that whole industry is so sketchy.
Yes. I got into a lot of arguments with my friends who are still in the industry in West Virginia, but it's a great job for some people that have that mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Great pay, great benefits, the car, all the bells and whistles, and you can climb the corporate ladder if you're flexible in location. But for me, it was like, you go into the offices and you see other drug reps. The patients that were in there were like, now they're bumped in line because the doctor's going to see you for like 3 minutes. Right. The staff treats you like trash. I mean,
but as a guy, I'm sure those front desk ladies loved you. They love guys. They hate the little girls that go in with our rolling suitcases.
Right.
Come on.
Yes.
But then the doctors love us. So I mean, it's a little.
Right.
But hey, but those gatekeepers, I mean, you either get in or you don't, and it's the schmoozing.
Yes, I could always get back, but yeah, to your point, some of the doctors, it's like boom, and I'm like, look, doc, all I need is another 20 scripts. Breakfast is out front. I gotta go. So I would try to do like 2 to 5 breakfasts a week, and that's where I really made my money in getting scripts from, like I said, from 100 to 150 or whatever.
Right.
So I would be done at like 10 or 12 in the day because when I was in DC, my territory was really tight. I had 2 different companies. One was like really far in Northern Virginia, like yourself. The other one was in DC. It was like only Northwest DC. So that's a really tight territory where I could see a lot of doctors in
you're just like
2
boom,
hours.
Boom. Yeah.
Right.
I did it all wrong.
Not that this is a pharmaceutical podcast.
I was going to say, so when did you decide to get your real estate license then and all of this?
So in 2015, I was done with pharma. I think I just had one too many weird emails, the pharmacy being shady and switching the scripts that my doctors were writing. And that's a whole other, that should be, Justice Department, get all over that. But like, it was weird. And then you don't have control. So you could be, schlepping, talking to these people, you're getting them on board to write, and then it would just fall at the pharmacy level. And you can go to the pharmacy and talk to the pharmacist. It it just wasn't interesting to me anymore. There was just a lot of moving parts that I had no control over. And I was just at that point where, okay, I'm in my mid-20s. What do I do? So my parents were just so nice and were like, this is what you always wanted to do. You know, you wanted to be in New York. You wanted to do the interior design route. You know, you've been around construction your whole life. And I got my boyfriend, now husband at the time, to also be on board because it's a scary industry to break into.
It
So
is.
Yes.
yeah, that you know that was marriage material when he backed me up
That's awesome.
in every way.
Yeah.
To give you the first 2 years of real estate.
Right. It is scary. I mean, because I came from a sales role. It was in hotel sales, not pharmaceutical sales, but it is, you know, kind of that interesting shift when you go from a sales role that does still have a relative base salary to something that is
Nothing.
fully commission based. But
Mhm.
even though sky's the limit, whereas, you know, with some of these pharmaceutical and hotel sales, you have, you know, the base and you only are getting, you know, X amount of bonus
Right.
if you hit your goal, but
Yeah.
you can still, you know, be relatively comfortable. But yeah, with real estate, I mean, I'm sure that at least what I've found in the first few
Oh.
years is that hustle is definitely necessary.
Absolutely. And people, you know, the barrier to entry is so low in this industry, and people, they look at the selling sunsets and, you know, they know their aunt or their mom was a realtor, and they think it's so easy and it comes easy, and it's not. It is such a hustle. Like, I don't know about, I need to create boundaries, and this is something I'm working on personally. I don't need to get into it, but creating boundaries, because it, like, my mind never shuts off. And I don't know if you are both the same way with, you know,
I am, because like my
Yeah.
issue is like I get up at 4:30 and I'm thinking about who do I need to contact.
I don't
like,
have that
working
problem.
on home inspections or getting up at 4:30.
No.
So, well, anyways, when I get up,
Yeah.
I'm
No
running
matter the
like
time.
you know deals in my head, home inspections,
Yeah.
closings, walkthroughs, all of that. And then I go to bed. I'm thinking the same thing. I'm looking at my email. I'll get to this home inspection tomorrow morning or this addendum tomorrow. So it's like around the clock. Like I can't shut it off.
Right.
Yeah, I think that all realtors need to have therapy.
Yes.
Seriously.
Probably. That's why we do a
100%.
podcast.
Yeah,
We
right.
get all our airs out online here.
I mean,
No, I
it's
mean,
not a healthy industry, but you know.
I think it's true. I mean, I started therapy at the beginning of the year, and I think it really helped to, you know, just help create some of those boundaries, or at least just talking about it and, you know, getting, you know, that just getting the thoughts even out of your head is so important. And, you know, being able to talk to someone and say, like, right, I don't need to be texting my client at 11 p.m. Like, it's okay that she thinks I'm asleep right now.
Yeah.
You know?
No,
I can text her in
oh
the
my gosh,
morning.
I feel that. I'm like, no, you're still so new.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Break it now.
Yeah.
Break it now. Because
Right.
once you get, I don't know, once you're into it, it's hard
Yeah.
to break those cycles. So
Well, I think as agents, it doesn't matter if you're a new agent or a seasoned agent in the industry for 20 years. What happens is you're always afraid to lose that deal. It could be a $300,000 studio, or it could be a $3 million spread in McLean, but you're always afraid that you're going to fail that client if it's an active client, or you're afraid to miss that phone call, email, text from someone coming in.
100%.
It's like, I'll go to these tennis matches, basketball tournaments with my little guy, and sometimes I'm not present because I'm on the phone the entire time,
Yeah.
and I've missed the tournament. He just won the trophy, and I'm like, oh my God, I like missed 2 of the 3 matches.
Right.
no, but you're
I
still
was
such a
there
good
in
dad.
body, just not in spirit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're definitely still there. I think it's awesome, like how much you are there present with them.
You are. I see it on Instagram.
Yeah, I was gonna
It's-
say it's
I'm
always
like, you're
It's-
such a good
If it's on
dad.
Instagram, it must be true. That's the
Always.
saying, right?
that
Of
is.
course.
So,
Everything's real on social media.
so going back into real estate, so you're switching gears from pharmaceuticals to real estate. Your parents kind of gave you some leeway there, like getting into your passion. Like, what got into like sales versus like interior design, or following in your mom's footsteps with investing, or your father's footsteps with building?
Can you repeat it? What was the question?
Like,
I'm
why
sorry.
why real estate sales? Like, why a real estate agent?
I guess I just don't. I didn't really know what an alternative was. You know, like, I wanted to be in this. I like architecture. I like buildings. I like design. I like art, and I guess I didn't really know an alternative.
Right.
So, and I like sales and making money and
All the good things with
winning
that.
and, you know.
Tell us a little bit about your team structure. I know you lead a team of how many now? Or
It's just me and
it's just okay.
no. It's just me and Andy, who is
Okay.
a new she's had her license for a year. She is a godsend. I love her more than life itself. I am so grateful and lucky because hiring is really hard,
Mhm.
and she's definitely like my person. Um, and I have a new assistant, and so that's the first. I think we're like 2 months in.
So you have Andy and you have an assistant? Or
Yes,
Andy is your assistant?
no, Andy's not my assistant. Andy is an agent.
Okay.
Awesome.
So I have that. And so I'm just building blocks
Yeah.
and it's scary. It's so scary to take that first step into building. I mean, I know it's been a long time for you now, but I'm in that, okay, I have my first employee and then
Yeah.
now I have my first salaried employee and, you know, just the anxieties, but then how wonderful it can be because it can blossom into something bigger.
Right. And take some of that stress off your plate. I'm sure that you were doing with, you know, especially if you didn't have an assistant.
Oh yeah. I
you
mean
know,
that
all
and
of the coordination.
that way, yes. I was able to take a 2 week vacation. I mean, I still worked the entire time, but I think that's again going back to the I need to work on boundaries. But my my whole purpose is I'm trying to build that out so maybe one day I can detach and not feel guilty or worried that I'm going to lose somebody, even if it's a $300,000 studio, because that person could open the door. You know, that's probably not their forever home,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and just because it's nice to help people and you
Yeah.
want to do a good job. And so, yeah, building that.
I think having a team is beneficial because they can always like step in for you. And we just had a conversation with a team member yesterday who's going away for a couple of days. And I'm a huge proponent of never let the consumer know that you're gone,
Mhm.
especially if you're on a team, because there's always someone that can step in and fill your shoes. Maybe not as good as you, but someone can help you out.
Right.
There's nothing more demoralizing as a seller if you're like, I'm going away all next week to Paris, to LA, to Florida, wherever, because their focus is, why is my house not selling? And you're
Right.
taking off to wherever.
Right.
So like, don't let them know that you're gone. Still take the trip and just say you have a, quote unquote, an appointment to go if they want to meet you in person, whether it's a buyer, seller, or a new client coming through the door.
Yeah.
So it allows you to take some valuable time away from the job.
And actually be present with the kids.
Right.
And I know.
Yeah. Yeah. You've told that to our team quite a bit, how you're, you know, kind of, yeah, anytime you're away, you are, you know, don't tell the clients that you're away. But has that ever kind of like come back around to have an issue in some way? Like they are mad that you've sent someone else or?
Sometimes they get upset if I
Okay.
send someone else. It's like, I hired you to do this and you're sending like
Yeah.
someone else.
Mhm.
But for the most part, you have to do a really good job of explaining the team at the
Mhm.
very beginning. So it's
Yeah.
like, I'm here to negotiate the best deal for you, whether you're the buyer or the seller. You're not going to get me in person every single time for
Right.
an inspection and appraisal, every house that you want to go take a look at, or every single showing that happens if you're a seller. I try to be there, but you're paying me to negotiate the best deal for you.
Right.
For the most part, if you do a good job explaining up front, they don't have an issue with it down the road. It's just, it's the one-offs where maybe I forgot to tell them, and it's like, so and so keeps showing up, and like I'm never present.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about setting that expectation. And I like to refer to Andy as my partner. And so I say,
Yeah.
you know, if you ever want to see something and I'm unavailable, my partner, she and I work hand in hand.
Yeah.
So you might see her. And that's because we never want to tell you no. You know,
Right.
Exactly.
your schedule and availability to see a house shouldn't be around me.
Sure.
And so you get them on board with that. And they're like, hey, yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
And it
So-
opens them up to so much more too. I think, you know, we always strive with the team of, you know, you have, sure, you're working with one agent, but you have 7 agents that have, you know, all of their networks as well, trying to sell your home or trying to find you that home too.
Yeah,
So that helps.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's very well said. I say that as well. I mean, I think that's the most important. Like, your schedule is the most important. If I'm at a closing or at a walkthrough, at a home inspection, if I can't be there, someone else will open the door.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, you are choosing that house for you to live in. You don't need me to oversell, the great floors, the great room, the
Mhm.
location or whatnot. I can go back and look at that, give my stamp of approval, but I'm not living in the house.
Right.
You are.
Exactly.
So when did you decide it was time to expand your team? You know, was there like a number goal that you had in mind, or was it just something else calling you to
Oh my,
add on?
well, I had 2 kids in
Okay.
less than 2 years.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Uh,
How old are they now?
Yeah.
8 months and almost 2.
Wow, those are young.
So pandemic babies. Wow,
Yes.
Okay, so
You have your hands
that
full.
was
8 months
not
and 2.
to plan, but sometimes things happen. And I had gone out on my own in 2019, and that following year I did like 30 deals, and then I did 40 deals, and now I'm doing like 50 deals.
Wow.
And all by myself. And then, I would hire one-off showing agents, like, please, I'll pay you. Can you show this person? And I would keep that person consistent, or I had a few people that, I liked and I trusted and got good feedback from my clients. So I was really, really lucky with that, because I really believe in leveraging as much as possible, because I'm not good at everything. Like I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm really bad at. And frankly, I don't want to do the things that I'm really bad at. So leveraging in general in this business is super important. So at that point, doing that much volume by myself, I had to leverage, because I'm only one person.
Right.
And I knew that the year that I had closed 50, that was just horrible work-life balance. I was just completely drained.
Yeah.
I was just a zombie.
That's a lot of deals.
Yeah.
And that's even
It's
so
one
that
a week, basically.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's when I was
incredible.
on a team, and always super grateful to have that assistance and that help. But I don't want that for me. And so leveraging. And then I just got to the point where I'm like, okay, well, I'm by myself. Isn't this the next step, especially if I don't want to be doing 50 or 40 deals by myself? And I don't like working as an island. Like I like collaborating with people, like even because, we're on different teams, I would still want to, go have coffee and bring our computers, just because I like the energy of
Right.
being with people. And I also was pregnant and needed help, and knew that, maternity leave wasn't a thing.
Right.
And what do I do? Because I worked so hard to get to that point. I'm not going to just let it crumble. And that was so hard for me. So that was really the step that made me take that plunge and just kind of push that anxiety away. And I'm so happy that I did.
That's
So
awesome.
with your first child, that's when you had your first person come on board, or your
After,
leverage
actually.
actor?
Wow.
Yeah. So I had him, and I had wonderful colleagues of mine call me, say, hey, I know this is happening. How can I be helpful? Let's meet up. So grateful. Chapman Bixby, shout out.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was piecing it together. But again, it's like going on vacation. You're never really, well, it's not vacation, but it's like going away. You're never detached. So I was still answering emails and calls in the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
I was,
Wow.
I gave birth, and then I did showings the week after, because this one couple only wanted us, or me. So it was after that, and I was like, I need someone. So it was around that time.
That's an interesting point. Like from a female's perspective,
Yeah.
obviously that's not me, but it's like, if you're a single agent with no help or support whatsoever, and you're planning on having a family, you can take as long as you want as far as maternity, but you're just not going to get paid from your client. So like, what do you do in that situation? And it sounds like you saw the light early on and decided to form a team as a result.
That was really, really hard for me, because I did feel, as a woman, like, and I'm not this, staunch feminist at all, but these are the facts. And I am a woman, and I am a young woman, and I am in a job that doesn't have support unless I create it. But that creating it comes with a whole other bag of, responsibilities and challenges.
Training.
So exactly. And, one piece I always tell people when they are in this position is listen to your gut on hiring, because hiring is really, really hard. But just listen to your gut. So yeah, it all came to a head, and, I had the baby, and I got a phone call from Andy. She left a message. I called her back, and something about her, I was like, I need to have this girl.
So did you
What
have like,
was it? Yeah.
I don't know. I just,
Okay.
something, I don't know, something about her. She was not only saying the right things, but when we met, I was so honest. I was like, listen, my life is insane right now. I don't have my shit together. I have my shit together for, excuse my language, for everyone else, for all of my clients, because I have to, because that's what pays the bills. But behind the scenes, I am not, you're not going to come on my team and have this trainer's manual. You know, it's
Mhm.
learn as we go, ask me questions, help me put different responsibilities into boxes and help me organize. And she was like, I'm fine with that.
That's
I
awesome.
like that. And, you know, I wasn't trying to paint, you know, sunshine and rainbows. So I didn't feel guilty when it wasn't cookie cutter.
so where did you find Andy?
Yeah.
So my transactions coordinator from Compass, it's her friend.
Okay.
So she knew you were looking for help. And then,
No, she she
Oh.
was like, this chick needs help. She's
Oh,
like,
wow.
because she
Got
knew that I had a baby, and I was like still
Right.
ratifying contracts, and she was like, maybe try Anna, see if she needs help, because I think she does. And not from a standpoint of she's not getting it done, and you know, it shows. She just knew, we became friends also.
Yeah.
And she was like, I see that she
That's
needs
awesome.
another set of
Yeah.
hands.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad that that's worked out. But I mean, I think it's so true. I think it is a really interesting, and it probably could be a whole separate podcast talking about, you know, how working mothers and fathers. I mean, you know, I don't know if you took a paternity leave when, you know, when you had the kids, but
I did not. I
yeah,
got screamed at.
for
not taking it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, new podcast
Yes.
topic we can.
Two opposite ends of the spectrum there.
Yeah. Right.
If you're just joining us, we have Anna-Louisa Yon joining us today from Compass, single agent, crushing it out there. She's doing 30 million plus a year. She has a team. She has assistant Andy and then another assistant as well. So just recapping for the people that are just
Yeah.
tuning in. So, and then you brought on this third person. Can you tell us what the assistant does?
So I only have two people. So Andy's my agent, and then I have one assistant.
So what is the assistant? Like, what are they?
So this is, again, very new. And so she does, you know, some correspondence if I need, like, hey, can you get back to this person? Not clients, but it might be back end work.
Okay.
We're cleaning up my CRM and really get that going. I know that's hard for all of us
Awesome. Yep.
agents, because that's not
What CRM do you use?
So Compass bought Contactually,
Okay.
and then they've just been developing it and making it, you know, specific to us. So that is one of the things I am not good with. So, you know, she's helping me with that, you know, event planning, marketing, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Great. I love when I met you for the first time with Rob, and you guys were talking about how, you know, the way you met was kind of like you kept seeing each other's names on all of these like competitive the places where, you know, it was the Velocity condo, and then
Yeah.
it was Capitol Hill where, you know, we have a market share, but then it was, we keep seeing Anna, you know, and so it was like, I love that thought, the fact that rather than you guys, Rob and Brent and Anna, butting heads, you guys have kind of decided to create this friendship. So
I love them.
yeah, which is very cool, and I think different in this industry. We see a lot of competition and almost, you know, having, you know, enemies in a way. So
Frenemies.
frenemies, right?
Yes.
I
So
would
do you
say they
wanna-
were my frenemies.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit of how you?
Sure.
I guess your first exposure with the Rob and
Right,
Brent
yeah, the
group, whether it
first
was good
Well, I
or
have to
bad.
say, I was like, I hate them. Who are these guys? I don't like them. Go away. No, seriously, that was the case, because there's one other agent in that little pool of, you know, in that Navy
Yes.
yard.
Yeah.
And I think, like, so I was on a text chain with him, and then he's on a text chain with Rob. And then, you know, when I would win something, they would talk, and when they would win something, one of us would talk to Jay, the other guy. And then one day he told me that Rob and Brent said, "Who is this little girl?"
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh no." I was like, excuse me, I do not work this hard to be called a little girl. So
That must have been a Rob
I
Sanders
was
thing.
gonna
If
say,
he's listening
we can
out
blame
there.
that on Rob.
I was like, this
Always a person
little,
not in the room.
who is this little girl? So I obviously was not pleased. And then one day, Jay put all of us on a text chain, and then it was just like, we all love each other.
Broke the ice.
I don't mean to speak for you, but
No, I get along with everybody.
well, you and Rob are like one. So
Yin and yang, right?
Yin and
You
yang.
very much are.
I mean, I think you were in the car when I called Rob just to say hey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
the
I was
other
like,
day,
hey.
for sure.
I just needed a little boost of sunshine,
Right.
and I love him, and he's a good guy, and why not?
Yeah. I love that thought. Kind of being new to the industry and having, not, making it that there's always enough for everyone. So we don't need to be enemies with one another. We can actually work to help one another.
I mean, it's how many times have I emailed you? And I think I talked to Rob more, but how many times have I been like, hey, what do you have in Cap Quarter, or what do you have over in Potomac Yard? I need something. And then you guys have the opportunity to do your mailers or your calls and say, hey, I actually have somebody who's looking. So you guys look like a hero. And then I look like a hero saying, hey, my friends over at Sotheby's, this is how we work, and why not? Everyone's happy. Everyone has the same goal. Right. I don't understand why some people can't be more collaborative. And listen, it's not, everybody's going to operate differently. People are going to negotiate differently. I'm more of a collaborative, negotiator. Don't take that as weakness. Trust me, I can turn it on. But at first, I mean, it's you are building friendships for your clients, for your sphere. And then at the end, if you end up liking that person, you have a personal friendship with them, that's even better.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm glad that I have the ability to tell other people, or to tell my clients, I have really good friends at other brokerages, or I have some of my really good friends are at Compass. And yes, we have, off markets, but I actually have like another side to it where I can maybe even get it before. So it's, listen, just doing the right thing and being nice, I swear.
Kindness goes a long way. I think it's underappreciated in our industry. They think you have to be like steadfast jerk that's negotiating the best deal possible at any and all costs, where kindness goes a long way, both on the buyer, the seller, and then our agents at large, whether it's within our team, within our firm, or outside the firm, because you never know where the next deal is coming from. Right. And to your point, we do reach across the aisle. If we have a tough listing that can't get sold, reaching out to try to get another agent in the doors, or a pocket listing that we're trying to get agents from other firms in to take a look at it the best that we can.
But how cool is it for you to say like, oh yeah, I have someone at Compass that can do this, or I have someone at Washington Fine or Keller Williams, or I mean, that is just, I mean, if you're not winning listings that way, it's like it's a gift here. It's just by being nice.
Right. It's a huge asset to
and nice isn't weakness at all. I mean, you can still get your point across, and I've lost to him, he's lost to me. And it's, and at the end of the day, a lot of these people, it's a personality. So there are some people who didn't hire me because I think they wanted a more like a guy, and that's okay. But I think I know that I've won on the other end because I am a girl, and they didn't want a guy, and we can't change that. I mean, you can, but you know what I mean.
Well, that's
whatever.
That's another podcast episode.
Continue on.
We're not planning to change that.
One of the things I always tell my little guy, and I've ingrained this since he was like 2 years old, but it's like everybody in the world wants to be important, but the most important thing you can do is be nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that goes a long way in the industry, is to do the right thing and just to always be nice, kill them with kindness, because you can't be mad at somebody if they're just so nice and kind. Even if they totally screw up the deal frontwards and backwards, you're like, my God, that person was like just so kind.
I mean, they had their heart in it. No, I mean, that is frustrating, but it's even when our clients could be, they can over exaggerate and they're like, oh, I'm going to call this person and I can't believe they did this. And, it's our job. How are we going to tell the agent on the other side, hey, kind of calm it down a little bit, because we are respectful to each other, and we're probably going to do a deal at some point, and our reputation is everything. So it's really up to us to.
Yeah. And thinking long term, right? Your client is going to live in that house, and then you're not going to probably talk to them, or you'll talk to them and keep up, but they're not going to be buying another house, but you'll probably have to deal with that other agent far before you're dealing with that client. So it's, better to keep everyone happy.
Exactly.
So changing gears here a little bit, diving into the marketing aspect. You started in 2015. Can you tell us how your marketing has changed from 2015 until now? Like, you're in Capitol Hill, you live in Capitol Hill, you're working Capitol Hill, just kind of the ins and outs of your marketing empire.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's changed a lot. And I think it's changed as I've grown as, a realtor, and just, I'm not 25 anymore. So it has evolved, and I think it will evolve when I am one day in the far distant future 40s, and, so
very far distant future.
Very, very far. And so I think it will evolve. And I think a lot of it is just how you, like, where you are in your life. So in 2015, I don't remember what I was doing in 2015. I was part of a team, but I don't think I was really incorporated in their marketing. And I mean, that was a different life.
So where are your leads coming from, like, as soon as you got into the industry? Like,
myself.
Yourself.
Yeah.
What did you do to get?
I think I made like $7,000 that year.
Okay.
That's why I said I needed the support.
Exactly.
I mean, not to say that I was getting things paid for, but it was, hey, here's a allowance, and it's like feeling like you're a child. But listen, getting into real estate, when people are like, yeah, I don't know what I want to do with my life, I'm just going to get my real estate license, always burns me, because it was so hard to get into, and it affects everything. Like, you can't go out with your friends and have drinks, and you have to make a lot of sacrifices, and nobody wants to feel like they're not bringing something to the table for, in your house. Yeah. In your household. So, then I joined another team, and I said in our meeting, I said, I have leads. I have a pipeline. I'm growing it. I'm filling my buckets, but I also need leads. And they promised me leads, and they more than delivered. And so that gave me a lot of experience. And, they had their marketing plan, and having to meet their metrics on that. And I think when I went out on my own is when I really found my own voice and how I wanted to be, without anybody else's, holding me back or giving me a framework, which is fine. I mean, mine is going to be different from you, and there's no right or wrong. So for marketing, the biggest thing that I did was start a Facebook group for the Navy Yard. And that now has 8,000 people. I haven't been as active on that in the last 2 years. But that was a huge marketing piece. But I never spoke about real estate. In fact, I didn't let anybody talk about real estate, because it wasn't a place for real estate. And this wasn't a place for me to talk about myself and showcase what I've done. This is to offer, help local businesses, offer suggestions if somebody needs a dentist or an interior designer, or, hey, why is there traffic on M Street? I don't know. So, I mean, but it was for that.
Have you got, I know you said you didn't do it for leads, but have you got any leads from
a ton?
A ton.
Because I think the biggest part of marketing, having a successful marketing plan, whether it's Instagram, whether it's mailers, is people want to get to know you. So they got to know me by being a resource, by being active in the community, by seeing me at the local watering hole, and being forgiving, if
That's
if
a
needed.
really cool idea. I haven't heard about another agent doing something like that, almost like the next door before next door.
Yeah.
In a way.
I mean, if people are going to use you, it's because they like you, outside of obviously being competent and showing that you're good at your job with numbers or however you want to do it. But that was a way where I got to know a lot of people, and now I call people my friends because that's how we met when Navy Yard was a lot smaller. So created this page. Now it's huge and it doesn't have that same, small town feel, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But that was something that was really successful. And then that went into those people and the people that I met in general into Instagram. So people are always, you talk to business coaches or you talk to marketing people and they're always like, oh, you need to have a business account, you need to have your private account. And I'm like, no, first of all, I'm not managing that. And
Right.
secondly, like the accounts that are business accounts that just show sold, like that's not, people don't,
It's not fun.
it's not fun. Like people don't,
Yeah.
like, great, good for you. But what else you got going on? So if you look at mine, it looks crazy, but I mean, who cares? It's me. You see my travel, you see,
Yes.
Yeah.
you see, I mean, half of my stories are me making fun of my almost 2-year-old because he's funny. And, it's,
But I'm sure people
but
comment
people love
on that.
it.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my
exactly.
gosh, sorry, I
People
don't mean
love
to
it.
be annoying. They're like, no,
No.
I live for Mateen videos. And I'm like, okay. So it's,
Yeah.
and then that creates engagement. And then people feel like they know you and they choose to either like you or they don't. And
It's authentic. It's different
Yeah.
than, like you just said, the just listed under contract,
Yeah.
just sold.
I mean, I still do that,
Right.
but so they know that I'm out there.
Yeah.
And sometimes people are like, do you ever stop working? And it's like, well, the answer is no. But, if people are seeing my dedication. So,
Well, Anna, it has been such a pleasure having you on the podcast. It's been super informative and so excited to hopefully have you back another time to get to more of our burning questions. But we have some rapid fire, how we like to end the episodes.
Okay.
So
Rapid fire for our frenemies.
Frenemies.
exactly.
So what is your guilty pleasure?
ooh, I love terrible TV.
Yes.
Okay, so my next question is, what is your favorite TV show?
I have so many. I love Gossip Girl. We rewatched Sopranos. I'm all over the place.
What about like real trash, like Kardashian?
Oh my gosh. Okay, we need to have a whole podcast on the Kardashians. I love them.
I'm down.
I don't care what anyone says.
We can do a
Yep.
pop culture
Yes.
podcast. Get some Bravo in
Yeah.
there. Bachelor.
But I
No.
didn't watch Bachelor.
No.
I like the earlier episodes of the Kardashians, like when I think was it Robbie or Bobby, like the brother was in there. and
Robert.
Yeah,
Robert.
Robert.
Yeah, but now they're on Hulu.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just listen. You either love them or hate them, but they love
They're
their
an
family
empire.
and they work hard.
Right.
I mean, what? Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. They're still on for a reason.
Yep.
Whether it's a real movie or reality TV, who would play you in a movie?
Ooh, I have no idea. I don't know anyone's name.
I'm gonna throw one at you.
Who would play me?
Reese Witherspoon.
Oh yes.
I love that.
Yeah,
I follow her on TikTok, so it's like she's like fresh in my mind.
for sure.
Oh, not
There's a
because
resemblance.
she's awesome and
Well,
amazing.
No, she
it's
is awesome.
both.
This is the last
things.
girl I
She's-
saw.
Right.
Yeah.
You love to travel, so what's your favorite travel destination?
Anywhere in Europe.
Anywhere in Europe. We're holding all of our guests to this. What are your predictions for the rest of the calendar year in the real estate market, 2022?
I honestly think it's still going to be incredibly busy. We are not part of the narrative that the news is reporting on, which is true. I mean, interest rates are rising. Construction has slowed down a little bit. Some people are holding off, but I don't think that is true here in our market.
Awesome.
And that's not, I mean, people are still getting pre-approved at a rapid rate in my world. So
Yes.
yeah, that's
because you're crushing it out there. It's an impressive book of business that you have, and 30 million plus, and you did 50 transactions a couple years ago, and you're crushing it out there. So glad that you came on to the episode to join us. We'll have you back, as Leslie said. We'll have Max here because he's totally into the social media, the TikToks, the Instagram, more so than I am. So we'll have a powwow with that. Before we go, do you have a charity of choice you always give back to our guests in that regards?
well, I always do a canned food drive in Navy Yard to benefit the Capital Area Food Bank, but my last donation was actually to St. Jude's because of Rob.
Oh,
St. Jude.
very sweet.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks for listening to Keyed In with your hosts, Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. For more information on selling your home, find us online at keyedinpodcast.com. Remember to subscribe to Keyed In on Apple Podcasts or wherever you like to listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Keyed In Podcast, at Rabin Max, and at Brent E. Jackson. And follow Max on TikTok at MaxwellRabin_properties.